J-Man. I am Jason, defender of geekdom. My true calling in life was revealed to me the day I had discovered YouTube. I have the power! I became J-Man, the most powerful geek in the universe. Only 3 others share this secret. My friends Steven, Owen, and Sean. Together, we defend geekdom from the evil forces of social media. J-Man.
Hey everybody, J-Man here in the Phantom Zone. We are back yet again to do some more verses today. We are doing the 2 longest titles against each other. I was gonna put the full titles for both, but the YouTube, like it would like be wrapping around like 3 times over. It'd be like a paragraph. So we're doing Spacehunter Adventures in the Forbidden Zone 3D versus Metalstorm, The Destruction of Jared Sin 3D. So I'm going to explain how that works in a minute. Just a couple of quick updates. So there's going to be no stream on Tuesday. The wrestling stream is going to be on Wednesday this week. So just keep that in mind. I've already updated that. But this Monday, I am going to be on Clobberin Times. The link to his channel is in the description of this video and all other videos. So I'm going to be on Clobberin Times. We're going to be discussing a classic comic book, DC Comics Presents issue number 29 with the Spectre. I love DC Presents. I have a Facebook group for DC Presents, if anyone cares. But it's my favorite series. I love that comic. I've got almost all of them, at least the big appearances. I've got the first ever He-Man appearance. I've got like Mongol. So all the big first Teen Titans, which is expensive. So we're going to be talking about issue number 29 with the Spectre. It's really good. So that's that. And then Wednesday is going to be the wrestling talk. And then Thursday, I'm not sure if I'm doing anything Thursday. I have to see. It might be an open mic Thursday night. And then Friday, we'll be back again with the next edition of the Space Opera Versus. Okay, so let's bring in some guests here to help me figure out which movie is better. And I have posted a poll in the chat, so go ahead and do your votes for what you like better. So let's bring in our first guest. Hello, hey, Steve.
Man. I don't think this one's going to be hard.
We're gonna. Well, I beg to differ. No, I don't know. We're gonna have to see how it goes. We don't have Sean with us again this week for the same reasons as last week, but I think next week he'll be back.
Okay.
I'm not 100%, but I think so.
Did he text you his?
No, he did not. I'm going to explain that in a moment. Let's bring in our next guest as well, just so we can get kind of going here. All right, hey Charlie.
What's going on, fellas?
All right, so we got Charlie here from Give Me Back My Action/Horror Movies. The link to the Facebook group is in the description of this video and all my other videos as well. I sometimes don't put links to other channels in some videos if I feel that video is problematic, and I don't want others to be attached to my drama, which I do love being a part of. I love when people are angry at me. I think it's really funny, and it just makes me even more like if I hate a movie or if I love a movie and everyone else hates it or loves it. It strengthens my it's like I started out thinking Highlander 2 was like a really cool movie, and then everyone's like Highlander 2 is trash. I'm like Highlander 2 is now my favorite movie of all time. I don't. It's like because the more
strengthens your resolve,
right? It gets
like
me.
You will not deter this.
Pretty soon, Wonder Woman 1984 is going to be in my top 10 favorite films of all time. Like, I'm like, I feel like Wonder Woman 84. Everyone's like, "You're an idiot. It's trash." I'm like, "You're making me like it more. Stop it." But anyways, we're not going to talk about any of that stuff today. We are going to talk about Spacehunter versus Metalstorm. Could not be reached already. Private is already here. He already texted me privately. Why is his comment not coming up? Is it coming up for you guys or?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, that's weird. I'm not seeing it. I see it on here, but I don't see it coming up on the. I don't see it
up on the screen. It's not coming up on the screen.
I don't know why it's not coming up on the screen. That's very weird. Let's do a test here. Okay, I posted my own comment. Let's see if my own comment comes up. That's weird. It's up on YouTube. Maybe is there a delay? Oh, there you go. Wow, it's not letting me highlight the comment. That is so weird.
The She-Hulk people have gotten to your YouTube channel, J-Man.
Oh, there you go.
Wow. You were like gone, then
You
back.
were gone.
Right when he made the She-Hulk joke, which was fantastic. We couldn't have timed that better.
Yeah, my internet's working. Okay, so maybe that was just like a weird internet problem. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, now it's up there.
Now.
Okay.
That was weird. So Kanapi Reach already privately messaged me saying that he doesn't know what's going on anymore. He thinks this entire tournament's trash. He's
just being honest, man.
So it's because the poll is it because the poll is open? Oh, I don't know.
I rarely disagree with Could Not Be Reached, so I might have to be on his side on that one. I don't know.
So see, now it's saying the stream is very low. It's being low on internet. I don't know why. It's like I've lost a bar, but maybe that could be something weird. I've never. Oh no, it's back now. I don't know. It's so weird. Anyways, all right. So the way this works.
Internet. That's the explanation.
Yeah.
Canadian internet.
CanCon or whatever. It's like I've not done any Canadian content videos, so they're like, they're after me. Yeah, there was a thing on that. So basically, the way space works is it stands for story, pacing, artistry, characters, and enjoyment. And typically on my channel, I give a rating out of 10, where every category gets a score between 0 and 2, 2 being the best. So if I think the story is the best, I give it a 2 out of 2 for story. If I think it's okay, I give it a 1. If I think it's bad, I give it a 0. And you can do 0.5s when necessary. So usually if you get a movie that's, let's say, like a 5 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10, that means it's like, okay, you gave it kind of a pass. It was an okay movie. When you get into your 7 and 8s, that's where you're like, okay, I like this movie a lot. I think it's really good. You get into your 8s and 9s. That's like, oh, I've got to buy this. I'm going to recommend it to my friends. 9s and 10s. That's where you're really like saying, yeah, I love this movie. I want to buy the toys. I want to buy the poster and all that crap. The soundtrack and all that, just like I did for Yor and for Highlander 2. But but we're not going to do so. After I just wasted time explaining that, we're not going to do that on this thing. What instead we're going to do for verses is we're going to say Spacehunter, Metalstorm, which story did you think was better? And that's how we're going to grade these things. And that's how we're going to get a winner. So let me get up the official notepad here, which is just on my own screen. I'm not going to share the screen with you because you can't. It's not worth it. You guys.
No sense in it. No sense.
There's no sense in doing that. I'll tell you the score. I'll tell you. Jim, remember that? What was it called? Tenacious D, not the movie, but they did a skit where they're going through a drive-through and ordering, and the guy's like, "Would you like curly fries?" And Jack Black is like, don't offer me stuff. I'll tell you what I want.
Yeah, I think it was one of the like TV show skit ones or something like that they had that little short run of TV shows.
It's super funny. It's like, so yeah, it's like, I'll tell you what it is. All right, so first I've got to find it. And Space Opera, here we go. And here we go. All right, so today we've got Metal versus Hunter.
Steven.
What happened?
Reading the comments,
Oh.
said Steven's rocking the Richard Mall haircut too tonight.
Yes, he did all that just for today.
Yes,
I literally did. My wife just did it before the stream. I was like, I'm looking like a hippie, man. I can't have hair.
I just look like I have a dead spider on my head if my hair grows. So I'm like, no.
Mine grows up and then just sticks up consistently, and I'm like, I don't want to wait for it to get too long. I don't want to comb. I don't want to do all that shit. I'll do my beard. That's it. I'm done. I'm not doing head hair.
Oh, what the heck's going on here? All right, I think I got it all good now. Yeah, I do. Okay. All right. So before we actually get into the actual verses, we'll talk a bit about each movie and kind of how we got there, how we found out about it. I'll start with Steve on this because you're new to both movies, right?
Actually, no. This was a surprise to me. So Metalstorm, completely new, never saw it before, never heard of it before. The space opera, tournament. I actually have seen parts of Spacehunter off of, I think, AMC. It was really bizarre because I started watching it today. I'm like, I've seen this. Right. I've seen this part. And I'm like, I remember, Molly Ringwald, and she's a partner and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I've seen this. Like, I didn't see all of it.
Right.
Because I think I missed some. I think I came in. There you go.
I've only got one. I'm sorry.
I think I came in right when Molly Ringwald hooked up with him and stuff, and I watched most of that, like Ernie Hudson stuff. And then when they go to Overdog's lair, I for some reason I missed that, but I've seen parts of it. I'm sitting there like, God, I remember this movie now. Yeah. Obviously I haven't seen it all the way through, so this is my first viewing, but I will give my thoughts on the movie pretty much when we do space. So, and I believe, I can count 2 movies I've seen in the theater where the 3D was not shit. One was Avatar, and the other one was
Tron Legacy?
Journey to the Center of the Earth. The Brendan Fraser remake was like actually better 3D than Avatar.
What about thingy though? Tron Legacy? No,
I don't recall that being particularly good. No, like the 3D. The movie itself was good.
Oh, okay. I thought it was pretty awesome. I remember I thought that was like, I think Avatar is clearly the winner in 3D for.
It would have to be because that's what they went for. But like, I remember seeing Dread in 3D, and I actually liked because they didn't overuse it, but they did it well where it needed to be done. So I enjoyed that one in 3D, but you can't compete against Avatar though. That one was
that was
Journey.
That's almost not 3D. That was just almost like you were just right there
you were there.
Yeah.
But Journey was like stuff was flying out at you and all this stuff. It was pretty good. It was like shockingly good.
Is that the one with The Rock?
No, that was Journey 2, I think. This was the first one.
Okay, because I've got Journey 2. I've got the Rock one on Blu-ray.
Yeah,
but I saw the first one, but I don't own it for some reason. I don't remember why. It wasn't because I liked one. It wasn't that I liked 2 better. It's just that I think 2 was like 3 cents in Walmart or something. So I just bought that. And,
Journey 1 wasn't that great. My dad liked it, but I didn't care for it. So
I don't remember. Did we see Hobbit in 3D?
I don't think
if we saw it in IMAX, which we did. We probably saw it in 3D.
I don't remember it being 3D.
No, I don't either. So obviously it was great, the 3D.
So maybe it wasn't that, but it played in like 48 frames or something. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember one of the Hobbit movies played in like the weird frame rate is like double the frame rate or something weird, and people were just like weirded. I didn't get to see it like that. But one of my buddies saw it, and he's like, he goes, the first half an hour you're just like, I can't
you couldn't focus.
Right, you couldn't process.
Well, and then Into the Spider-Verse, like that.
Yeah.
That first time I was like, why is the screen having a seizure? Like it was just really
and they dulled it down because the trailer was throwing people off. Like they thought it was going to be like stop motion comic that Marvel was doing before. And people were like kind of freaking out, like this is a major thing coming to theater. Why are you doing it that way? And I actually think they fixed it a little bit, but still watching it, you're like, I feel like I'm blinking the entire time I'm watching the movie. And it's just, I can watch it now.
Yeah. Wait, am I frozen or is Charlie frozen?
Charlie's frozen.
Everybody froze on my side.
Oh, okay, that's weird. Yeah, so like, yeah, and then I mean, I could read the whole thing on just that movie because I actually don't like that movie. Like, I kind of liked it, and then I didn't like it, and then I kind of liked it again. I'm back and forth on it. The animation's the killer. I just can't. It looks really good on the TV. Like, I've got like a 65-inch 4K. You put it on, you're like, wow, this looks really cool. But then it's like jerky. I'm like, why? Like, well, that's the style. That's not a style. That's bad. That's bad animation. I don't.
Yeah, I don't. If your story is good enough, you don't need a gimmick. And to me, it's a gimmick, and it's just basically saying we don't have any faith in what we've created, story wise or character wise. So I'm like, okay, well, the filmmakers don't have any faith in it, neither should I.
Right, but it was just even if the story was halfway decent, it was just too distracting. Like I liked Into the Spider-Verse, but I can't get over the fact of I just want to focus on one freaking thing right now. And it won't let me.
Yeah, and I put in Transformers the movie.
Oh God,
and it's like the goddamn best.
I know,
like the cartoon movie, not
the
movie,
the movie,
I know.
The actual movie.
I'm well aware of what that one is. It's
all right, Steve. So you saw so you had seen some of Spacehunter before. Metalstorm was brand new, right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So Spacehunter was almost brand new in the sense that you didn't really see it properly back then, right?
No, and it was AMC, right? So you had commercials and in between, so that always happened. But I stuck with it. Like usually if a movie on TV, I'll sit down for like 10 minutes and like, I don't know why I'm watching this. It's got commercials and I just wander off, right? Like I'm wandering and I wander off. I'm that guy in that play who wanders off, from stage left and then sits down, listens for a bit and then goes stage right out off the stage. But I stuck through a lot of this movie, so that shows the interest. I was fascinated that there was this Molly Ringwald science fiction movie because I just thought she made comedies for the entirety of the 80s.
Right.
So it was interesting for me that she was in this science fiction, even though it was somewhat comedic. Ivan Reitman was the executive producer, so he doesn't do dramas. So
no.
All right. Okay, Charlie, what's your? So I know I know for sure you like Metalstorm. Now, Charlie, you guys did a podcast on Metalstorm just recently, so that's posted.
Came out Tuesday.
You guys, I listened to about 15 minutes or so. I thought, you know what, I'm not going to listen anymore because we're going to talk it out, right?
It'll skew what we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah, and I actually didn't want that to happen because when I get to my portion, I'll say. But so the links to your Facebook group are in the description. And then you can find the podcast, Giving Back My Action Movies.
We have all the links there in the groups and stuff, so they'll find it. We post about it regularly. We've actually been posting a lot today. We were bracing for a big rainstorm, so I've been in the shop all day. So we're catching the top part of Hurricane Ian. We get the tropical storm in Virginia, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, a lot of people have been like, even on our thing, they've been talking about it. On my other stream as well, so it's crazy. Like, we get nothing here. I mean, we had a storm pretty bad. I don't know how many months. What was it? A few months ago. My mom lost a bit of her fence and some roof shingles. That's as bad as it got.
We don't get hurricanes here usually.
Yeah, we don't get anything too crazy. But
I mean,
anyways,
we catch them as tropical storms, so we don't really have to deal with anything too major. But so I had seen Metalstorm as a kid.
Right.
But I hadn't seen it since I was a kid. Like, so when my other co-host brought it up in our group chat, I was like, oh yeah, it's Masters of the Universe mixed with Mad Max. Yeah, I remember that movie. I will call him knockoff Trap Jaw.
Yeah, it's Trap Jaw. Yeah.
For the rest of time, I don't care. So I was like super excited to cover that one, and I did. And then it just so happened we decided to do this, and it was on the list. So this was my first instance with Spacehunter. I don't know why. I don't know why this one wasn't on my radar, but I'd never seen it, never really heard about it. But one thing I've realized doing this with you guys and doing the podcast is there's so many movies that just come out. Like these movies came out the same year.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, and they're like you made the joke. They have the longest titles. I mean, it's like someone knew someone was making a movie and they just like, we got to do it too.
Right.
But yeah, it was just kind of wild to be like, there's these little gems out there that I had no idea about till I, decided to pit them against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they did reuse some of the Mad Max 2 vehicles. Yeah.
And if you look at, I watched a little bit of the making of Metalstorm. And,
I watched the whole thing. Yeah.
You watched, yeah.
Oh,
and like the guy's an amputee and all that. And it's like literally, and it's awesome.
That's how the arm would retract back into its fixture. It was fantastic. Not to mention there's a guy from Mad Max 2 in Metalstorm.
In Metalstorm, yeah. And they even said, the makeup like Overdog and Jared Sin, not Jared Sin, sorry, the claw guy, Trapjaw. They're like, it's kind of similar, so we have to kind of change it up. And they actually said, have you seen the Spacehunter thing? Yeah, Could Not Be Reached knows all of the ones that are fun. And you've emailed me a few. I think after the space opera one, we're gonna do a fantasy one.
That'd be good.
Oh my god, I'm like, and I've been stocking up on some of these crappy fantasy movies.
There's so many of those too. Like, I'll probably have seen a handful when you pull those out.
Yeah.
It'll be weird though. I'll be like, I've seen that cover, I've heard of that movie, I just never sat down and watched it.
Right, and then I think we might have to. We're gonna have to do some rules because you're gonna put all 4 Deathstalkers in. It's gonna
I don't think you can do that. I think it'd have to be like the first Deathstalker or something like that into it.
Yeah.
But
I was thinking it's got to be a part 1, like Barbarian Queen 1, Deathstalker 1. So it's either a part 1 or it can't be part of a series. Oh, Deathstalker 2. Yep. Sorry, you mentioned it. That's it.
Shit. You're right.
That's it. Hold on. Well, I haven't had that one lined up in so long.
I'll have my revenge and Deathstalker 2.
That makes me kind of want to do Deathstalker 2 instead.
We literally lost 3 viewers when I hit that clip.
They're lost, man. They're lost.
Come back, Shane. It's fun. So for me, I own Metalstorm on DVD, and I didn't remember that I had owned. I don't know. It was weird because I put Metalstorm in. I was like, I haven't seen this movie yet. And then I was like, Charles Band's name. I was like, how did I I'm like the Charles Band fanboy. I'm like, no. How did I not see this? I've seen like I have Laser Blast and like Ghost Town is the
Ghost Town, Arena, Robot Job.
Yeah. So the Ghost Town poster is right there. Like I can actually go up and show.
It's the best thing about the movie,
right? And that was. There's actually 2 Ghost Town posters. There's a theatrical one with the skull with the 2 guns in the eyes.
Yeah, and then it's coming out. Yep.
Yeah, and then there's that poster, which is the alternate one. And I have the Fangoria issue of the Ghost Town write-up with Jimmy F. Skaggs interview. I actually cut that out of my Fangoria magazine and
that's awesome.
And I got I have it on VHS. It never came out to buy. I got it. I used to get old movies by VHS movies by going to the shops, talking to the manager, and buying the rental copies.
Yeah,
because a lot of these were not available. So the guy sold me that for $10. Ghost Town. I still kept it. The VHS I kept in a nice little protective thing. Nice. I rented it every year for my birthday for like 3 years or something. It was I was like, oh, Ghost Town. Anyways, so yeah, I love Charles Band. I'm like, how did I? And then I'm watching. It's like, I've seen this. I'm like, oh yeah, Tim Thomerson. I'm like, what the hell what am I thinking?
Dollman's in this.
Dollman's in this. Yeah. Tim Thomerson in a Charles Band production? That never happens.
Heaven forbid.
That never happens.
Trancers.
Yeah, he's like every movie. So I was like, oh, of course I've seen this. I was like, I don't know why I forgot. And I think I got it mixed up with Raw Force because that one I don't think I've seen. I thought that I seen Raw Force. Spacehunter, had it on VHS, watched it 100 times. So I'm like, okay. That's why I was like, I need to rewatch Metalstorm, and then I rewatched Spacehunter. So I only have the DVD of Spacehunter, but I found it on a Blu-ray quality version of it, just so I could watch a better version.
Tubi had it for me, and it was a really clean rip on Tubi. Yeah. So
there you go. So I rewatched them both because I haven't seen Spacehunter in a long time. And obviously Metalstorm I haven't seen in a while because I forgot that I had seen it. But it all came back to me as I was watching it. So you love that clip? That's awesome. Yeah, it's great. My wife cannot. She's like, I don't. She's like, stop it. I'm like, no, it's the best clip.
No, it's Deathstalker 2.
Yeah, that's why she says that.
What is that? They said the name of the movie in the movie.
I love it. I love when they say the name of the movie.
Except when they do it in No Time to Die.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Did they do it in No Time to Die?
Yeah.
Is No Time to Die the newest one? The one that I don't like, right?
Yeah.
I don't like anything with Daniel Craig, any of the Craig movies.
No. 25 minutes and 40 seconds, boys. It's fine.
Yeah, no, for 25 minutes for James Bond, the new movie stuff. Well, really, they all, well, that's a whole nother stream. I can rank those movies. I would say they just got worse to me, pretty much. They got like progressively a little worse. Although Skyfall maybe was slightly better than the Quantum, but I actually thought I rewatched Quantum of Solace. I think this is my favorite one because it was the shortest and it was just right into action. It's like, yeah, nothing makes sense, but nothing makes sense in any of them. So I'd rather take a shorter movie where nothing makes sense.
I like that. I like the acting in Skyfall though.
Skyfall is good. It was good too. Yeah,
and I like Batista in Spectre.
So, he's cool.
I like that part.
Dr. Mordred.
Yeah, I got that. Of course, I have that. That's basically Jeffrey Combs playing Doctor Strange. It's
so he worked with like Stuart Gordon and stuff, and when they did the From Beyond movies, then we can get into this as it goes, but honestly, like Metalstorm funded his entire production company. That's where he got the money for all this. So without Metalstorm, we wouldn't have Puppet Master. We wouldn't have, all these we wouldn't even have Full Moon because his old production company turned into Full Moon.
Right.
Is how that is Full Moon bought it all. I think it was Empire.
Yeah,
Productions
I think Empire
or something is what it was. But yeah, and then a couple buddies of ours that they got a movie getting ready. It is out for streaming. They got help from Brian Usna, who
I met Brian.
Gordon. Got a lot of cool stories from them about Brian. How Brian just, if you just mention like Cthulhu or the Lovecraft, he is like, yeah, I'm listening. Okay, what do you?
Yeah. Okay. Well,
we froze up again.
Yeah, we froze up.
We covered quite a bit of the band and Stuart Gordon stuff.
When I met Brian, so it was a big lineup and everybody was there. Was it for The Dentist? What movie were we watching? I can't remember which movie it was that we were watching in the theater, but he was there for it. I should have friggin' brought I have an original theatrical poster for Silent Night, Deadly Night 4.
Wow.
Which is like so random.
That is the most random thing.
He made that movie and I had forgotten. I would have brought that. But my favorite movie, still one of my favorites, is Return to the Living Dead Part 3 with Melinda Clarke in it, who is like my favorite. And I was like, oh man, it's like, so he was there and everyone in the line had Reanimator. What else? Like, what were the big ones? Like, I think mostly people had Reanimator. So I had Return to the Living Dead 3. And I came up and this is a VHS copy. I've got the VHS copy signed by him. And he's like, oh, Return of the, and then he was so pumped because like people never talk about that one. I was like, yeah. And it's like, and they were like, oh, Melinda Clarke. He's like, she's the best. And then people were like, is this guy done? It's one of those like not. But it's not me. Brian kept going on. He's like,
yeah,
man, I tried to do this. And I was like, oh, you captured it perfectly. It's like, he goes, you like you continued the series, but you made it its own thing. Like, the mechanized exoskeleton thing. He's like, yeah. I'm like, this is awesome. Yep. And then it's like, oh yeah, I gotta leave. I'm like thinking, I'm like standing here. Everyone's like, yeah, we want to like, can we meet this guy? Like, get out of here. So he's awesome. He was like he was probably, and that was free autographs for like, like you just paid for the movie ticket and everything.
Right.
Right. So anyway. Okay. So, I guess we can get, what time is it now? 8:01. Yeah.
8:01. We're on track tonight, boys.
There you go.
Track. All right. So I actually did a space. I actually rated it myself. Some things tied. Okay. But I do have a clear winner for me. I have a clear winner. So even the things that tied, I think they only tied on one category.
Me too.
For you as well? Okay.
I don't even think I have a tie, but I have a clear winner.
You have a clear. Okay, so you know what? Let's go, Let's start with you, Charlie, on story then,
Awesome.
because that's where I got tied. So I got tied on story, to be honest. So Charlie, what did you think was better?
We paused again. There we go.
Okay,
All
so
right.
story. What do you think was better?
I'm surprised you got it tied.
I got it tied. Yeah.
The clear winner is Spacehunter, and there's a couple reasons. Is I like the story a lot more because it's explained to me. You know, 3 girls crash land on a planet. I don't care about the ship, what they were doing, why they were so important. Didn't care.
Right. Yeah.
And then they're basically a commodity, and he goes to save them, and it just turns into this big like adventure to save them. Metalstorm, I have no freaking clue what is going on in that movie, and I have to try. I'll be serious. So when we do these movies on the podcast, we play the trailer. The trailer filled in all of the blanks I needed for this stupid movie. I found out the planet was called Lemuria. You know, it was all this other stuff, and the trailer calls it Earth in some things. It's just so weird. But when I watched the making of Metalstorm, they all went, what story? There is no story. We had to hurry up and make this movie to get it out, and there is no story. There's driving, there's some laser blasts, and that's it. Spacehunter, I was in. I was like, I love this story. I love everything. Like, I like even the story of how Ernie Hudson is there, you know, and why he's like doing what he's doing. I was able to figure out the bad guy's motives more for Overdog than Jared Sin. Like, Jared Sin just like, I'm Jared Sin. I want the land. And we made a joke, and we were like, we don't even know, what does he get with land? And I was like, it's real estate. You know, we had little park benches on all the driving scenes that were Jared Sin. I will put you in a house now. But, you know, it had no story. So the clear winner was Spacehunter all day.
Yeah. And actually I lied. They didn't tie on story. They didn't,
good.
I read my note wrong. Originally, I'll just go next. Obviously, Spacehunter is a better story, but what happened was that I gave Spacehunter a 1 because it is still generic. It's like, okay, the girls are captured. Yes. So Metalstorm, I given the way I usually do it is I give everything a 1 before the movie starts because I'm assuming everything's going to be like somewhat decent. And then I had scratched it out and I put 0.5 for Metalstorm. But then it almost looks like I scratched it out and put a 1 again. And then I got confused or whatever. And then I can't show you I don't want to show you my rating on Metalstorm because it'll ruin it. But then I was like, that's messed up. But then my notes, I'm like, I literally wrote, without trying to show you, I literally wrote, WTF is going on.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember about how.
No, before just on that thing, when you listen to back to the podcast, that's the joke.
Yeah.
They go, what the hell is going on? And they all 3 chant, we'll never know. That's the joke all the way through Metalstorm. And that was it. You nailed it right there.
Yeah. And the thing is that my mindset was like, I'm like, look, I feel kind of bad for this movie, the story in this movie. So I was like, it's not so bad, is it? And then I'm like, I know I don't know what's going on, but I'm having a lot of fun not knowing what's going on. So I kind of, I'm like, Spacehunter to me has like, I mean, obviously the story is better because there is a story. So for me, Spacehunter is obviously the clear winner. So I already know Steve, what Steve's going to say because I could see, I'm watching his reactions while we're talking.
Yeah.
So
you have no poker face, Steve. Come on, man. Little mystery, a little.
No, I can't. It was just like Spacehunter. I agree, has a very generic 1-star story. I would probably give it a 1 out of 2 for story, but I have zero idea what's going on in Metalstorm at all. I remember Kelly Preston's dad got sprayed with green goop, and then he's in some weird area. And Jared Singh puts a red crystal beside him and he dies. And I'm like, was Charles Band on drugs when he did this? Like, I don't understand what's going on.
Everyone was on drugs in the 80s. Let's be fair, Steven.
That's true. That's true, Charlie. I'll give you that. But like, I rarely saw it on the screen. Like I've seen it here, where I'm just like, I have zero idea. All I know is the main good guy is after Jaren Singh because he's a villain, and there's a crystal, and Richard Mall is a one-eyed character.
He's very honorable.
He's very honorable. I admire Richard Mall's honor in this movie.
And
but
he had
like,
jokes. I mean,
I have zero idea. I did the J-Man thing too. I walked away. I'm like, that wasn't so bad, but I'm like, yes, it was. So
oh, man.
It's Spacehunter by a mile.
Yeah. All right. Well, so Sean did not give me his takes this time because he hasn't seen Spacehunter in a long time. So he didn't have time to rewatch it, so he thought it wouldn't be fair. I don't think it's going to matter tonight, but I guess we can move on.
This might be a jobber match, man.
Yeah, this is a jobber match. It's a bad jobber match, like real bad.
It made sense. I would have pitted these two against each other.
Right.
Totally. It makes sense, but it's a jobber match.
Yeah. If I look at my actual score, the one movie is double the score of the other.
Pretty much.
And I'm like, well, all right. I mean, the stream's over, really, but like, let's continue.
No. We got to talk about. We got to talk about this.
Let's talk about it. All right. Okay. So the pacing. Let's start. I'll start with pacing. Why not?
Yeah.
I thought Spacehunter obviously was paced better because I understood what was going on and I felt that I cared about what was happening almost all the time. I felt like every time it's like anytime that you thought, okay, let's move on. Oh, they moved on. Like just as you were thinking, should we move on? They've already moved on. And a new element has been introduced. And you're just like, and it just keeps it, wow, this is really exciting. I think Metalstorm, I gave Metalstorm a 1 for pacing, and I gave Spacehunter a 2 because I think Spacehunter is almost the perfect example of how to pace a movie like this. Give me something unique every like 20 so minutes. It's serial pace. I like serials. This is what George Lucas liked when he made Star Wars. Serials are rapid fire. Every 15 minutes, there needs to be an action scene, which leads to a cliffhanger, which leads to chapter 2. And then kids come back to see what happened to Flash Gordon.
Always a cliffhanger. Always just some kind of
something.
What happens next? Will Flash Gordon survive next week? Find out, children.
Right.
That kind of stuff, you know?
Right. And that's how these movies are. So they know that, okay, it's been X number of minutes of screen time. Okay, something new, right? Ernie Hudson shows up with that awesome vehicle, right? So it's like, okay. So you're like, all right, you know, now Metalstorm actually sort of has the same concept. It is doing the same thing, but the problem is that because story and pacing are so linked together, I'm trying to figure out what's going on, and then they introduce something new. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, but wait, why is this here now? And that's the major problem with it. Like Crawl had pacing issues because it didn't know, it was too long for what it was really giving me. This, like Spacehunter is perfectly paced. I gave it a perfect score. This one, it's like, I mean, I can't cut anything out because there's nothing. If I cut anything out, it'll just be more of a mess. It's just that the entire structure was a mess. So obviously,
Metalstorm, you can't cut anything out, or
because if I cut something out, it'll make even less sense, right? Like,
I can cut about 8 minutes out of that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the okay? So go, Charlie. What's your
okay? Because you brought up a perfect thing that I was going to bring up. And I won't do Metalstorm yet. I'll say that again. We're going to do it serial wise. I'm going to leave you on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So in Spacehunter, I felt like that is what Krull needed. Like it's almost even kind of the same story, just with better vehicles and better everything. But as far as pacing goes, if they'd have got rid of all the slow spots of Krull, it would have been just as good paced as Spacehunter. Because you're right. The second you're like, okay, what's going? Oh crap. Okay, now even something as mundane as him finding a dome in the desert to open up a door, you're like, okay, well, and then there's dead bodies everywhere that would have terrified me as a kid. But it's like, holy shit. And then the car's being stolen, and you think it's one of these like dregs of the desert, and it's not. You're like, boom, 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 boom. That's what Kroll needed. I needed that. Okay, now this is happening. Oh shit, now this monster's trying to eat us. Oh shit, now we're in the swamp. Metalstorm was a lot of fucking driving.
Yeah.
Drive. So much so they went, well, we needed to add some more 3D, and there's so many driving sequences, we decided to make a branch come out at you out of nowhere and reach out to the screen. And they're like, when the production company goes, we had 3 weeks to finish the movie, we still don't know why there's that much driving in this movie.
Yeah.
I could cut that down to speed up the pace ever so slightly. Mad Max is nothing but driving, and it was not as much driving as Metalstorm was. And it's driving with nothing happening.
Right.
Spacehunter, there was driving, but there was character interaction. See, that's what hurt like Metalstorm was. Him and the girl didn't have the kind of chemistry that the other two had in Spacehunter. You know, she could have easily gone super annoying, but that's how she was written. You're supposed to be like, she has no people skills. She has no way to talk to anyone. And, you know, it works. And then something would happen. And then Ernie shows up. Then they're, you know, on this mission. Then all this stuff around them is happening. Then they find a swamp in the desert, which is, you're not expecting that. And mer people. It's like, holy shit. It just goes. That hands down is the best pacing out of the two. And yeah, I can fix Metalstorm.
Yeah, I forgot about all the driving too. It's like there's so much of it in the beginning too. It's
it
like
opens and then it goes again with just drive, and then all of a sudden henchmen show up. And that's for like 20 seconds of gunfight, laser fight, and we're back driving again, back on the road, boys. Here we go. And it's just like, oh my God, I love the cars, but please do something. At least, you know, like Spacehunter had guns on his car, you know. The other guy didn't. There was nothing about his car. Sorry, other than it looked cool. His car looked cool.
Yeah.
But that was it. That's all it did was look cool. You know.
Yeah.
I'll quit ranting. Steven needs something to talk about.
Steve.
Well, Metalstorm, I fell asleep twice during the movie.
Oh man.
I fell asleep twice during the movie.
Oh man.
Due to the driving. There's just constant searching, and I'm like, what are you looking for?
He's a seeker.
He's a seeker.
That's right. You guys
seeker.
missed the point of that. you guys literally missed the point.
I know, but like he was finding nothing for long periods of time, and it was just like, what am I doing? Why am I watching this? Who is forcing me to do this? This is crazy.
You think you can find Jared Sin right now? Easily it's gonna be.
I was like, could you do something, please? I fell asleep twice. I had to go back and rewatch what I missed because I fell asleep.
Remember, we couldn't find parking when we went to that concert. When we went to that Maiden concert, we went to the Iron Maiden concert. Couldn't find. It's just like that. See how difficult. Just think about how difficult it would have been to find Jared Sin.
But there was true. But if J-Man was looking for Jared Singh and the wooden plank who was in Metalstorm was looking for Jared Singh, you're going to have two different things. Sorry.
Make it better. Turn up the good. Turn down the suck. Turn down the suck knob.
Now, if I was in that theater beside him, I would be the guy who's asleep beside him. It was badly paced. I'm sorry. I wouldn't say Spacehunter was perfectly. It's close to perfect. The one thing that sort of I would say is they had the encounter with the white albino creature things, and then they had an encounter with the mer people, and I would have sort of split that out a bit, just because it's like encounter with danger, same kind of danger, like entities after us. Like I would have split it a bit. But that's nitpicking. It was very, very well paced. It's around 90 minutes, which is perfect length for this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Metalstorm was a 30-minute movie and like an 80-minute runtime. It was just, there was too much. There was too
My
much.
co-hosts swear it was a 4-hour movie.
Yeah,
it just felt like it was 4 hours.
Yeah, it felt like it wasn't as brutal as Space Mutiny. I wouldn't go that far, but it was a lot of driving, as Charlie said. I was like, yeah,
driving.
Remember, have you seen Rock and Roll Nightmare?
I have not watched it
a long time ago,
ever, and I want to revisit it very soon.
Oh,
buddies of mine covered it, and I want to rewatch it again.
Yeah, so I met John Michael Thor. I got a picture with him, got his autograph. I've got the soundtrack to that. I've got the soundtrack from that thing, and he signed the soundtrack. And I also got the movie, and he signed the movie as well.
That's awesome.
I love Rock and Roll Nightmare, and the first like 10 minutes is driving.
It's driving the van.
The van, yeah,
driving, just
and,
driving.
And he's making fun of it on the commentary, which is great.
It's because they did the movie and they didn't have enough to be a feature film.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
Instead of filling anything else in, they went, let's go drive the van around the desert, I think it was, or something like that. And
well, they're driving to Toronto. They're driving into. They're driving.
Yeah, so they're just driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like dun, 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 and the music just repeats 100 times on its own. It's just repeating the same thing. Okay. Well.
This is what we expected Crawl to be, though. So, we all were kind of like on edge tonight going, I don't know. None of us have talked before this.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything. Well, Steve, I was like, I know what Steve's gonna think because he's watching both movies now. But Charlie, because you had seen Metalstorm before and you never saw Spacehunter, I didn't want to get you excited. Because I was like, holy fuck! Like, wait till you see how awesome Spacehunter is.
I was like this.
Yeah, I know.
I was watching Spacehunter going, this is the greatest fucking thing ever.
I know. I didn't want to say anything because I know we joked about this, but that actually would have tainted it a lot. Because
I think so. Yeah, it really would have. But I also knew what Metalstorm was. I was the only defender of the movie on the show. I'll just tell you that right now. I had the other three swear I picked it, and I didn't.
I know. I know. You established the guy who picked it. Yeah,
Pete picked it because he found a picture, and that's how I was like, oh yeah, I remember that because it's He-Man and Mad Max. I had seen it as a kid and never seen it again. So I've been hyped. I've owned this thing since like July. It's been sitting on my shelf, and I wanted to wait. And it was last week I watched it, and I was excited. And they all three got together to watch it, and that was the only thing that kept them from wanting to blow their brains out. Right. And I was like, it wasn't that bad. So I was like, Spacehunter is gonna have to like really bring it. It's gonna have to be up there. And I was like, holy shit, it's there.
It's there.
Like,
yeah. No.
Yeah.
I discovered it in I used to go to. It was called Zellers. I don't know if you guys would have had that. It's like a Target. It's no longer in Canada, but it's like that.
It's coming back.
Oh, it's coming back. Wow.
In some of the base stores, they're going to have Zellers.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, they had a section, and I would go, and I got so many gems. It was a VHS section, so there was like sections where you buy VHS movies, and it'd be like, Crocodile Dundee, and it'd be like a bunch of copies, and it's and then there was like sort of the dust collector section where it was just a bunch of crappy things. So if I tell you the list of, I discovered Elvira, Mistress of the Dark from that section. I discovered Spacehunter. I discovered Fire and Ice from that section. I discovered This Is Me, Lord of the Rings, Ralph Bakshi. I discovered from that section. Hold on, there's more. Godzilla versus Megalon. Wait, there's way more. There's a way more.
It sounds like you would find movies like Wizards and
stuff. Wizards, like Wizards, yes.
Yes.
What else? It was like, I'm like, and then it got to the point where I'm like, I'm not even going to the normal video section. Like I would just go to that corner, and I'm like, this is crazy. And yes, it could not be reached Zellers. Yeah. And when I got Space Hunter, I was like, ooh, Space Hunter. And I put it on like this is like, And it's one of those movies where you think you're the only person who knows about it. You're like, I discovered this,
Right?
It's like nobody knows what this movie is except for me, except Ernie Hudson's in it, and like Michael Ironside's in it, and Molly Ringwald's in it. But it's like I don't know these names. I'm like, it's the Ghostbuster. It's Winston. Winston's in this movie.
And he's bald. It's awesome.
Bald.
There's 2 bald men in these movies. It's glorious.
Yes.
But I honestly, if I had seen Space Hunters as a kid, this movie would have competed with Star Wars for my attention.
I know.
This movie would have really competed for something I would have I would have wore the tape out if I had done it. But again, like I've told you guys, not every video store got every single movie, and we didn't really have like buy here, trade here kind of places like we did in the like late 90s, early 2000s when I moved to Columbus, and I ate those stores up. Where people would trade in a DVD and they would have like 50 of a shitty movie, open water, where it'd be like almost 100 where they wouldn't take that movie in anymore. That's how bad some of them would be. But I would find like direct to video DVDs and stuff like that and all these little gems, but not for VHS back when this would have been impressionable for me. It would have been like, this is Mad Max. This is like, He-Man. This is all this awesome stuff. And I would have ate it up.
Yeah, and I had seen Escape from New York and The Road Warrior on the same day for the first time ever.
Oh my God, that's an epic day.
Top 10. They're my top 10 from that day till now. Can you imagine what that is like on that day where you're like, okay, my mom saw Mad Max and Road Warrior and Thunderdome in the theater. She loved Mel Gibson. And the girls loved him.
It worked. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I saw that in the theater. I'm like, you're effing kidding me. She's like, of course, it's Mel Gibson. I saw it in the theater. She watched. She didn't, if he's in it, not if he directed it. But she, up until, God, I don't know what's one of the ones where right before he became a little bit problematic. Like she had seen.
Some of the ones like What Women Want. And,
she saw that in the theater. Yeah,
so she saw that ones after that, then okay.
Yeah, so it's like stuff like kind of
Payback, was that one of them?
I don't think
Ransom or something like that. I forget
Ransom
which
was
one.
Before then.
I saw Ransom with my mom in the theater.
Okay.
And I told her
Payback was before that.
Yeah.
Because I saw all these in the theater too.
You and my mom could have. Charlie, I don't know why Charlie's freezing up today. This is like never happens.
It's weird. It could be our tropical storm coming in on us.
Maybe.
I mean, it's not doing anything but a little bit of light rain, but I got my light on. So yeah. I don't honestly, Mel Gibson's one of the few that hasn't gone like that full on direct to video movie lineups. It doesn't help the way he went, but he's kind of doing it now. I loved Fat Man. I totally enjoyed that movie last Christmas. It was great. Walter Goggins and him. I'm looking forward to Lethal Weapon 5 if it ever comes out. Yeah.
Even though Donner's not doing it, I'm still going to see.
If it was anyone else in charge of it, then like Gibson and Glover and these guys that are the heart and soul of it, I wouldn't care. But because it's like the Beverly Hills Cop 4. They're getting everyone back pretty much. And I just saw that Kevin Bacon's supposed to be in it.
Kevin Bacon.
I'm like, I'm there for Axel Foley.
Yeah,
like I'll be there. Pincho's going to be in it, Axel Foley.
Yeah.
Well.
I gotta say, like,
Foley's here to see her. He just gives up on it.
With Top Gun doing so well this year, they're like, shit, maybe we should do these long in gestation sequels because people
why not?
What they want. Yeah.
Now it's not going to be to Top Gun Maverick levels. I mean, all these are going to be direct to streaming, but still, Fat Man ripped off a short story I wrote years ago. Well, I'm sorry, man. I didn't know that.
Well,
your story was awesome, but it was great when I watched it on the movie.
Well, oddly enough, the She-Hulk TV series ripped off my idea because I found an old video of mine that I just recently re-uploaded. It's a really old video from like 25 years ago when I came up with the She-Hulk idea, and they did exactly what I had said. So you can check that out.
Yeah, but I believe Marvel's watching you. I believe they're
they're writing stuff down. What did he say again? What was that? Pause that. Go rewind.
Rewind that. What? Oh,
shopping for clothes. Yeah.
She-Hulk in group therapy. Yep. Interesting.
Drop it like it's hot. Got it. There we go.
All right. Artistry. Well, artistry obviously gave it to Spacehunter. The vehicles. So Spacehunter, like as I was going through the categories of Spacehunter, I started to think like I'm giving this really high, and then I was like, okay, I always second guess. I'm like, okay, is this just because I love this movie so much and I'm just going crazy? You know, I'm like, oh yeah, it's Spacehunter. I'm like, let me really legit try to think this through. I gave the story a 1. I gave the pacing a 2. I gave the artistry a 1.5. And the reason I gave the artistry a 1.5 is because they really went all out as much as they could. The scenery to me is awesome. It really looks it like I love Doctor Who. It's my favorite TV show, but you know, they land on different planets and it's a rock quarry wherever, you know,
it was the Star Trek syndrome. It's always a rock quarry.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, thank you. But like, and this is too, but not really. Like, I don't know what they did, if it was filters or something, but it definitely looks like unearthly. Like, it's like, wow, this looks really good. And then the vehicles, like when Ernie Hudson comes in with that big pile, I was like, holy shit, this is like fucking awesome. And like, I'm like, okay, wow. And just like, it's very believable. Like what he's wearing is believable. It's very functional.
Yep.
Molly Ringwald, what she's wearing, it's like, yeah, that is what someone, and even the details, well, this will get into I guess the characters, but like the details with the characters, but yeah, but like, I mean, all that's great. And like the maze, like that entire gauntlet at the end where it's like, what the hell is going on here? Like, this is, I mean, if I always think at the end, if I had made this movie, I would have been very proud of this movie. I'd be like, wow, guys, look at what I've made.
100%.
Yeah.
I probably would have made more like a Metalstorm movie. Or if you look at the movies that I made as a kid, they'd come off more like Metalstorm than Spacehunter. But
which still isn't bad. That's still not bad. That if it come off like Metalstorm, I mean, that's
Metalstorm had cool. So Metalstorm, I didn't. This is Metalstorm's almost highest. This is Metalstorm's highest category because I still thought the vehicles were pretty neat. I love the idea that they've got an amputee who's got a like actual telescoping arm that shoots acid. Like, this is cool. And it's got a claw. I'm like, and I thought Trapjaw, same thing.
Immediately, every kid did.
He-Man's my thing, right? So I was like, yeah, this is like a kind of a Trapjaw guy. I'm like, Richard Mall looks pretty cool. Like, you know, he's got that big fight with him. Like, that's pretty neat. They've got some pretty good effects for what they could do. It's, you know, at the time. And when I rate something 1.5, I gave artistry a 1 on Metalstorm. Some people might think it looks bad and give it less. I'm giving it a 1 because it's like they did the best they could with what they had, and I like that. I don't like where it's like I've got unlimited budgets and then, oh, here's generic cities. It's like, yeah, we've seen this. Like, what is memorable? Like, I think that the 3 original Star Wars movies have way better effects and memorability and like memorable effects to the prequels or the sequel trilogy. Like, Dagobah felt like a real place that people were living in, and you know what I'm saying? It's like,
oh yeah, you were transported.
I was transported.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I was transported there, right? Not CGI'd there. It's like, oh yeah, that looks cool. It's like, okay, well, that's a comic book then. I may as well just read a comic, and you know. So, anyways, that's my artistry. I guess Steve, you can go next then.
So I tied on this. I actually tied. I gave them both 2.
Oh,
the reason
nice.
I gave them both 2 is this because there's more spectacle in either of these movies than in 10 Hollywood movies that are supposed to be spectacle based nowadays.
Right.
Metalstorm, you got this big ass crystal. You got like, I love crystals. I love desert. All right. If you want me to be comfortable in your environment, you either put it in a desert or on water. I love
I like
both of those locales. Okay. Both of these are in the desert. Both scores are pretty damn good. They're very uplifting. They're very memorable. Remember when movie scores were memorable? They both, you know, and you got Charles Band on Metalstorm and you got Elmer Bernstein on freaking,
right.
You know, like Spacehunter. I'm like, really? You got Elmer Bernstein? Like, holy crap. I'm going to give it to Spacehunter only because the artistry actually serves the story better, in my opinion. I don't feel like because I don't understand the story of Metalstorm, I don't understand the environments or why you needed to have a one-armed guy or anything like that. It doesn't make sense to me. So I got to give it to Spacehunter, but in actuality, I have no problem with the artistry in either movie. They gave us a lot of, and you're right, they don't have $100 million budget, but I'm going to remember the cool stuff from these movies more than I would something from like She-Hulk, which probably has like 30 times the budget, right?
Oh yeah, and they do nothing with it.
And they do nothing, right?
Yeah,
like I have to say, at least I got really interesting looking characters. I got very, very good looking locales. It wasn't like Kenobi where I feel like I'm looking for a dirty sock through the entire series. It was just really
very disappointing, really.
Oh, yeah. But both
compared
these movies
to what they can do,
tried to give us a visual treat, and they succeeded. And for that, I have to applaud them for that and say I don't have a problem with either one of these movies in that category, but just simply because it ties back to his story. I get Spacehunter is really trying to say this is a different world. I didn't understand anything about Metalstorm, so I'm like, all right, one-eyed Richard Malsher.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Charlie.
So I have a winner, but I kind of agree with Steven that it's kind of even. Especially because this is the one thing I praised Metalstorm the most about was its practical effects.
Yeah.
And the prosthetics. I love the ball with the missing arm, how he looked. He looked like a mutant that you would see out in these desert type wasteland movies. The Cyclopeans were not your normal Cyclops. They were just deformed to one side, and no matter which one was out there, was the same amount of effort into their face.
Right.
Porcupine was paying off.
No,
but
that was bad. That was bad.
It very much could have just looked like a patch glued onto their face,
right?
Flesh colored, but no, it looked like the skin coming down. You know, I loved all that. I love I'm always a vehicle junkie. From Mad Max to Metalstorm to now Spacehunter. I love a good vehicle. Spacehunter had badass vehicles in it. Metalstorm had vehicles, and his looked like a skull going down the road, and it was cool, but that was all it had going for it. And then all the other ones were just buggies everywhere until they would flip them and blow them up. Costuming wise, Jared Sin's costume is ridiculous. It's like they inflate him before every take. And I also kept making the joke. I don't know if you guys ever watched Megamind with Will Ferrell.
Yes, I like Megamind.
I could not stop going Black Mamba every time Jared Sin came on the screen, because that's how he acted.
Right.
And I love that guy in this. I loved his acting in this. I believed it. The crystals are cool, but they were just there. Like this white one is worth a lot of money. This red one sucks all the life out of you. Oh, let me test them with my lasers. Oh, I should have known. Should have known what? Should have known what about that? There's a ancient marking. You didn't see that a second ago? So there are some failures to the artistry of Metalstorm. But like what J-Man was saying, every part of Spacehunter felt like they were in a different area of a planet. All of a sudden they were next to like a pool of water. Then they would be like almost in a barren area. Then there would be like these decrepit, structures around them. And good God, the matte painting work done on Spacehunter for the base, for the evil lair of Underdog is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
That it had like Snake Mountain feel. It had, you took every bad guy from every Saturday's morning cartoon's lair and smashed them in together. That was Underdogs. And it was gorgeous. And then you got to go inside the lair. And I felt like, yes, I am inside of this lair. And it's awesome. And the maze, which was, Ninja Warrior, only in the post-apocalyptic, we got to jump all this stuff. We got to flip over here, throw in a little American Gladiators. And I don't know. Did you guys have Canadian gladiators? I don't know how.
No, I watched American Gladiators.
We watched American Gladiators.
Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know how that worked.
Big time.
They overlaid everyone's outfits to whatever the Canadian colors are.
No. With lace, I actually watched a lot of that with lace. The beginning ones were
lace, laser, and all. Yes.
Turbo, and then they got more guys, and then I even watched it with Gina Carano.
Oh
yeah, I watched the reboot. That's how I found out about Gina Carano.
That's how I found out about her as well.
That was my gladiator, man.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I loved everything, and I don't know whether to talk about this part in artistry or character. And I know Jay. Yeah, okay. J-Man knows what I want to talk about because he didn't talk about it either. So, and I know it's coming up.
You can just so finish up your artistry and you can just go right into characters, then we'll go to Steve and then me.
Okay. So as far as artistry that now blends into characters, Underdog.
Right.
Oh,
Overdog.
Underdog. It was Michael freaking Ironside, man. Good God. I liked Jared Sin and I love that he was in Mad Max, the Road Warrior, but damn it, does Michael Ironside own that freaking role?
Oh yeah.
And his costuming is amazing. He was doing the Emperor Palpatine before they even thought about it for the Rise of Skywalker, whichever one at the end where he's on the little arm thing that lowers him around. I loved that character in this. Oh my God, I loved it. I loved Richard Mole as the Cyclopean though in Metalstorm.
Yeah, he's
probably
awesome.
my favorite one in there, but charismatically, I liked Ernie Hudson better than him. Mm-hmm. And Molly Ringwald, like I said earlier, could have gone super annoying where you're like, please just shut up. But if you stop and go, she doesn't talk to people. She's trying to put on this facade that she's a survivor, this tough chick, all this other things. I eventually start caring about her, kind of like, I haven't even said the main character's name. I done forgot what it was from Spacehunter. Oh, Wolf.
Wolf is his name. Yeah. Dojin is the other.
Yeah. But you kind of grow to like her as Wolf does in the movie. And I'm like, okay, I like this. I like how that works on it. All the other characters are serviceable in, Spacehunter. The ones that talk weird. Oh, he's blooding out. He's got the blood wound. It's like, okay, those guys are kind of cool. Don't care. The creepy fucking kids at the junkyard, though.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That was awesome.
It's so unnerving with the noise they're making. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Molotov cocktails. I was like, holy shit. Loved it. So characters is going to go to Spacehunter just because Metalstorm misused theirs because there is no story. Ball was badass, but there's no story. Awesome. Jared Sin is badass, but there's zero story. Metalstorm's like, there should have been 2 more chapters to this movie that we either had read in a book or something that now explains where we're at in this movie. Kind of, they were trying to do the George Lucas thing. We're starting with A New Hope, but there's story behind it. The problem is Metalstorm needed that story to push it forward. George Lucas went, there's some shit that happened before, but now we're on this chapter of the story. And this chapter of the story is going to carry you through. To where you're like, okay, I don't really care. And I did make the joke that, Metalstorm needed Jared Sin going, Dojin, I am your father. That would have been the whole thing. It's like, okay, now I get it. Now this whole thing makes sense. But yeah, character-wise, I got to give it hands down to Spacehunter.
Yeah. Steve?
Oh, yeah, Spacehunter. Overdog is genius. I love when Molly Ringwald is in his clutches and she's like, you said if I survived a maze, I could go. He's like, I lied.
Yeah, no one leaves.
It's like,
I just love that because it's the villain basically saying like, hello, I lied.
I'm the bad guy.
And I like 2 ways.
Say hello to the bad guy.
Say hello to, I love when he's there and he's like, undress her. And the guy's like, he's like, no, undress her slowly.
It's like,
but enjoy this.
Shit.
Dude, I haven't even got to my zipper. What are you doing?
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So he's hardly in the movie, but he's awesome when he's in the movie. I like Wolf. I think he set up great with Harold Ramis's voice saying he has 105 speeding parking tickets or whatever it is.
That's super
like,
funny.
Right off the bat. I love him. I love Chalmers with him. I like the two of them.
I forgot to mention Chalmers. She was badass.
She was awesome. He's like, oh, I bought you that shirt. That was the best thing I did, or something. She makes the you finish first joke, and it's like, as an adult now, I'm like, oh, that would have went over my head. Yeah. Oh man, she went too fast for me. I would have liked it if she said, Ernie Hudson is genius in whatever he does. No one talks about how he saves Congo, the movie, basically with his character.
Yeah.
Yes. He is. You just throw him in. He was the best thing in that Ghostbusters remake that everyone says is the fourth movie or third movie or whatever the hell. The one character who I initially struggled with was Molly Ringwald. I found her shrill. I mean, she was just like a motor mouth, and she started to get on my nerves a bit. Mm-hmm. But much like what Charlie said, I'm like, okay, this is her character. She's obviously going to improve. I can, get through it. And she wasn't that annoying for that long. Right? There are female characters who are annoying through the entire thing nowadays.
Right. She didn't scream like the annoying female characters you get for every time something happens. She didn't do that. And I like that.
Yep, I agree. So she initially started off that way, but I feel like that was supposed to be on purpose because you were supposed to be like, this guy's, with his standoffishness, you were with him on that. Like, I would be standoffish too if a girl was acting like that. I mean, she was 14, which is crazy when you watch this movie. She's 14 when she made this movie. I'm like, she looks about 18, 19. She's quite developed for a 14-year-old.
Yeah. That brings up a good point right there, though, while you're on that, is had they not made her slightly annoying, it dangerously could have gotten to more of a romantic kind of back and forth between the two of them, because there had to be a reason for him to go, you're a kid, you're a child. You'll pick her up, throw her in the water to take a bath. Yeah. Every bit of that could have been misconstrued into like some kind of sexual tension. Yeah. Make her a childlike, annoying character. But where she's only 14, that was dangerous territory if you did.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And
I still think they'd cancel it. Based on that anyways.
Yeah.
They would have canceled it on the overdog scene. That's right. That would have been done.
Anyway. Metalstorm. The main character is bland, to put it nicely. Kelly Preston, it's nice to look at,
but that's it.
She doesn't do anything. Yeah. Richard Mall was cool, but I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Every time I look at Richard Mall, I think of Bull, and I did so through this entire movie. I just looked at him like Bull from Night Court. Sorry.
Did you watch any of the behind the scenes stuff, like the making of?
No.
This movie gave us Bull. Could not be reached for further comment. Mentioned it briefly. They paid him to shave his head for Metalstorm. $500 extra to do it, and he's like, fine. 2 weeks into production, he gets a casting call, and he goes into the costume director's tent. They were in tents. He goes, I need a wig. I look ridiculous, because the dude has a full head of hair, like a luscious mane. And it's insane when you see, I'm not joking, IMDb it, he still has it, and it's gray. He goes in, I need a wig. And he's like, I can put something together for you. Hold on. Does the wig, it'll work. Richard Mall gets ready to walk out, and the guy goes, hey, by the way, what are you being cast for? And he goes, it's just some TV show, something about like a courtroom thing. And the guy goes, look, I'm going to be honest with you. You look fucking fantastic with a bald head. I'd rock that. And it's like and so Richard Mall was like, fuck it, took it off, went. They loved the bald head so much, he got the role as Bull, and he wrote that dude a thank you note like a few weeks later, because that turned into one of his biggest paying gigs forever. So if you want to know why, the Metalstorm gave us Bull. That's all there is. That's the best thing this movie can do, other than Charles Band's career. We got Bull from Night Court in this. Watch the making of. It's phenomenal. It's better than the movie.
I started watching the. No, I did. Yeah. Movie. Hey, I was like going, hey, MMM, vote for me. Easy vote for you.
Carl Killer.
The Carl Killer. Yep. No, yours my favorite movie of all time. So that's it. It's done.
Period.
So I can't, like, Richard Mall's good, but even his mannerisms, I saw him like sort of smirk. I'm like, oh, there's Bull. So Richard Mall, the actor, has been ruined for me forever because of that. That show, because I just look at him, I see Bull. Jared Singh and his son, stock villains. Here's a crystal for you.
Saturday morning cartoon villains.
Saturday morning cartoons, exactly. It was just, there was not a lot of character in Metalstorm, to put it nicely, and there was a lot of character in Spacehunter. This is not even a fair fight in this arena.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, yeah, obviously for me too, Spacehunter. Now, so when Steve and I chatted about this privately, I was worried about the Molly Ringwald character, Nikki, that you might think that she's irritating. I think she's fucking awesome the whole movie. I think this was a very real character that she didn't think she was in a movie. I legit bought this character. Charlie, you mentioned it. Look, she's alone. She desperately needs to get out of there and get with someone or do something, but she wants to be asked. Like she said at the end, I wanted you to ask me to stay. I think that just like her smelling, and he's like, you got to take a bath. It's like, I've never seen anything like this in other movies. You just assume that, oh, we made these guys, everything's good. And it's like, they really tried to make a character that has been living there. It's like, she's dirty, she's smelly, her boot is all taped up and tied up. She doesn't know how to speak. She's trying to sound smart, but it's all wrong and off. And she's like, oh, I know what I'm doing. I can't even imitate her dialogue.
She pulls that off fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's believable when she makes up words mixes things up, and you're just like, like Steven says, she's 14. So she hasn't been acting very long, but she is that role. It's amazing how she does it.
Yeah, I absolutely thought she was awesome from the very beginning, because I'm like, whoa, this is so weird. Obviously, Wolf is a cool guy. The thing is that Wolf with Chalmers, you see the way he is and the way he's going to be. And because he's very light, and it's like, he's kind of just like, yeah, I'm going with things. I can take care of myself if I need to, but I'm also, going along with stuff. You feel at ease following that character. The problem with Dojin is that I can't get a read on him. It's the acting, the story, the writing, all of it together. I don't know where that guy's coming from. And I'm just confused about him. Now, you can be confused about a character if the story is good and the supporting characters, I don't know what to make of Max in the Mad Max series.
Without the first one or without the narrative.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't know anything about Max.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like we're following him around. But the Mad Max movies are about him surviving in this world and what he has to do to survive. But also, he usually highlights other people.
Right.
It's like he's not always the main. It's like, yeah, he drives the tanker in Road Warrior
Mm-hmm.
because he's pissed off that Humongous nailed him, basically, right?
Yeah, he's just pissed. Yeah,
he's not trying to be a big hero in that film or anything. He's like, all right, I'll drive that tanker. We'll fucking get this, So that's fine, because the story is good and the world is good and everything that's going on is very interesting. So you're like, okay, this is this gritty world that I'm watching. But Metalstorm isn't set up that way. It's set up that way that you're following this hunter tracker guy to stop Jared Singh. But I don't even know why he's trying to stop him. It's not even a revenge tale. And the reason why Spacehunter, it has a generic story, but it works. It's like, yeah, look, I need the money. These women have been captured. They're a commodity. I'm going to go rescue them. It's like, yeah, I'll take that bounty. Let's go save them. And then I love the fact that there's this other character, Ernie Hudson, who's on the same mission. They're both equally good. They both have cool vehicles, but they've got different agendas. It's like, okay, I'm going and you're going. And then it's like, okay, why don't we team up? And you're like, no, I don't think I want to team up with you. And then, and then they flop back and forth. And he's like, no, I got to team. He's like, okay, fine. Let's team up. Let's do 70-30. No, I'm not doing it. Well, wait a minute. You don't got the vehicle. Well, I got this. Well, she's like, well, I can track you. Okay. This is so cool. All these characters interacting in the story that we understand what's happening. And then them just encountering everybody. And then when you get to this Overdog's place, you're like, whoa. Because up until, and there was danger, like with the Amazon women thing and those big fat bloated guys, like there was a lot of scary things. And all of that is not even nothing compared to when you get to Overdog. You're like, oh, this is hell. Like it's literally on his own amusement. He doesn't even care. Yeah. It's just like, yeah, throw him in a pit. Okay. Throw him in this gauntlet. Okay. You're like, oh, the maze. It's like, and it's just like razor blades and you just fall and you're dead. You're like, oh, this is like crazy.
Yeah, they show the blood and everything too, like from the other person's perspective, like, oh, that's what happened.
Yeah. And even when they capture the women, he's like, yeah, undress them. You're like, whoa. Like, it's like, this got serious pretty fast.
Yeah.
Like
like you said, everything's just a toy to him. Everything is just what kind, like even with Nikki, it was like, well, yeah, I kind of like this one. Put her in the maze.
Yeah,
you just said you liked this one, and then she won, and it's like, oh, you got some spunk, some vitality. I'm going to take that life. Like all of a sudden, now we realize there's this life force sucking machine.
Yeah,
that was kind of cool, but I was just like, and you also find out they've been mutating people and experimenting on people, and just this. It told a story. It built a universe that I wanted to know more about, but it gave me enough to where, yeah, there's only one Spacehunter. I was satisfied with it.
Yeah. So, I mean, clearly to me, it's like Spacehunter, and we can go into enjoyment because we're basically, obviously it's Spacehunter, but I ended up giving Spacehunter 8 out of 10, which started me to thinking that this movie might be too good. I originally thought it might be too good. It's like we're in the Battle Beyond the Stars where it's like, is this almost too good to even really be on here? And I'm pretty sure this is going far.
That's been my thought after I watched it.
I'll be honest with you. We got heavy hitters still, like Saturn 3 is pretty good. Like
Saturn 3 is pretty good.
I don't know. Like
Outlander.
You're going to find that the best movies, and the whole point of this was you're going to find that the best movies are the ones who are going to move on, and there's going to be some Titanic level 2, like round 2 and round 3 matchups.
Oh yeah, there's going to be some slugfest, basically. Yeah.
What do you think, Charlie? Like, like Spacehunter wins because until Tim Thomerson shows up, Metalstorm is just very flat.
It's just driving. Till Tim Thomerson shows up, they're just driving.
Yeah.
Until they find Han Solo, that's all it's going on. It didn't work. And there's reasons, and they don't like act like this movie was the best thing ever. There was supposed to be 2 more. Charles Band wanted this to be like an epic trilogy, and it just didn't make it. But if you watch the making of, they were like 2 or 3 weeks into production. They were already going to make a 3D because he had done Parasite, which done really well. Not as far as, moneymaker or anything. It was a knockoff Alien, but everyone loved it because of the 3D. So they made this movie, and he got called into a meeting that all these theaters were upgrading because of Jaws 3. They're like, they had to do the silver screens for the 3D to work. All that, there was a lot of money, and they realized one movie is kind of ridiculous for that investment. We need a second movie that's 3D. So they called him into a meeting. They stopped production on Metalstorm for a little bit. He went to it. They said, we need a 3D movie. He goes, I'm working on one. They go, well, send us something. Right. He goes, we're barely into it. They go, we don't care. Send it. He sent him a 10-minute clip. They bought the movie for $3 million. And they went, you have 3 weeks to finish it because it's going to cinemas right with Jaws 3D. So in 3 weeks, they had to wrap this movie up. So there are things that you have to take into consideration going, okay, well, with that, they didn't put that $3 million into the movie. Right. Charles Band put that into his production company. That's how we got Empire and then New Moon. But yeah, they still could have done something with it, and they didn't. Right. And Spacehunter did, and they did it well,
and the
way more enjoyable.
Characters and writing are not a budget problem.
No.
So
it's not. Yeah, I can understand if it's you had a plan to do something and now you don't have time to do it. That's a little different. But if you're that good at storytelling, you should be able to go, well, maybe if we switch this to here, maybe make that guy that they kill at the beginning of Metalstorm tied to Jared, to Dojin, to where, make that the partner, and he goes after him, but there was nothing. There's not like a committee that sent him. He's just like, yep, I'm hunting them.
And why don't they you know what? I don't think those two had any chemistry. What I would have done is it could have been the sister. It should have been my sister and dad, and they're digging up the jewels or the crystals, and they say, oh, it's like, Dad, when's Dojin coming back? It's like, oh, right. he's doing important work, scavenging and hunting. You know how it is. And then it's like, oh, okay. It's like, well, but he's supposed to be coming any day now, and then he comes back. Oh, Dojin, you're back. They killed Dad. That's it.
You fixed it. Yeah, it would have given him a purpose, a direction to point the arrow.
Right. Boom. And it's like a 2-second fix that I literally just made up and thought of right now while you're talking.
And, cut out some of the driving stuff, or at least make the driving exciting. Make more things. Like the opening was fantastic when the Cyclopean comes after him and then crashes into the wall.
Yeah.
That was epic, but there's still like 5 minutes more driving after that.
Yeah, I don't, and then
there's a whole scene where it's like, oh, we need to do something. I shall open the window and look at a mountain.
Right. Yeah,
that's all it does.
And I don't get what the crystals were doing. It's like, if you could say, it's like, oh, it's like Dojin or Jared Sin cannot be stopped because he's found these red crystals. It's like, what are red crystals? I've never seen those before. Oh, well, they're this thing where, if you do something, it burns you or something, or it transports you to another dimension. Oh, you know what's the other thing? Why is this what we call the destruction of Jared Sin? He wins in the end. He escapes.
Yeah. So I was really thinking about that, and I didn't even get a chance to talk about it on the show, but I was like, maybe they actually meant like the destruction caused by Jared's sin, but there's not even that much either. And then did you guys even know that the crap ball shoots out of his hand is actually a hallucinogenic goo that transports the victim to Jared's sin for them to suck out the life force?
Nope.
Oh my God.
That's what that is when everything goes like dark.
Oh no, Charlie's frozen out the part where he's explaining the whole movie.
It's being transported, and the big giant crystal's called the life crystal, and all the powers get put into it. And so it's like the ending, he's like, I got away, haha, through the Tron bite, through the black hole. And Dojin goes, I will follow him across time and space. Yeah. I will not stop my pursuit. Then blows up the fucking crystal that he needs. That is where the power source came from.
Yep.
I'm like, I think you maybe needed that.
What happened was they're like, we need an explosion, so we don't care if it makes sense or not. Just blow this thing up.
Yeah, he blew up the crystal. I'm like, so is it over?
Yeah, so now what? Is he trapped? Because he didn't need the crystal to do the teleporter twice. Yeah. And the teleport thing disappeared and then reappeared for Dojin to come through. And it's like, I don't understand the physics whatsoever of what's going on on the badass space bike fight.
I mean, I don't think at any point, at no point was I understanding what was going on. It's like my wife's watching with me. I was like, I literally don't understand what's going on.
Watching David Lynch. This is not that Simpsons episode where he's watching Twin Peaks. Homer's watching Twin Peaks. And it's like a unicorn is dancing with like a giraffe or something, and under a stoplight, and then a little person is having lunch with someone under a tree, and he's like, this is the most brilliant thing I've ever seen. I have no idea what is going on.
I use that clip in the show. That's how on point you are. That was awesome. Because Nate goes, I need something that says I don't know what's going on. They choreographed that whole thing of what's going on. I don't know. Between them, I didn't even know about. So I grabbed Homer doing that bit because that's how I felt.
That was awesome. I was just like, but you feel that way in Eraserhead. Like when I watched Eraserhead a while ago, I was sitting there, I'm like, I have zero idea what's going on, but this is brilliant, right?
I did that with Donnie Darko. I was like, I have no idea what's going on, but this is brilliant. Someone could explain to me what's happening here. You have moments of, I get it. Then you're like, no, I don't. Shut up.
Right. But those guys are trying to be Like that, it's supposed to be funky, right?
Yeah.
This is supposed to be a generic B movie where it's like
it's supposed to be Mad
like,
Max, man. They literally rip it off.
Yeah, like why are we overthinking this movie? It's like, okay, guys, Jared Sin, he's a bad guy. Make him a rapist and a killer and a jerk. And then have Jared's literally, it's like, maybe he killed his father. Perfect. Go with it. Done. Next movie. Like, and that's just going to be generic plot. I got an idea. Let's have no plot. It's like, okay, but that's
Jared
not
Sin only kill like one dude in this movie too.
Yeah.
Like, I know he tried to kill other people, but he only kills the old guy at the beginning.
So he's technically not a serial killer. You need to kill at least 3 people to get serial killer tacked onto your name. So he's not even a serial killer. He's just he's just a manslaughter. He could have potentially gotten off. Right? It's like I don't.
Well, he didn't kill him on Earth. He didn't kill him on Earth. He killed him in that weird shadow area.
Yeah,
or that area that.
Whatever dimension it is, it's so weird when you find out about.
I think it's so weird. I think it's supposed to be that. Look, the hunters are the cops, right?
Yeah,
That's kind of what I got. Yeah,
right. They're trying to. So Jared Sin is corrupt. He's doing all these evil things. He's got this power. They're trying to stop him. The thing is that if you want to go that angle, then you need to have the department that the guy works to, or some sort of superior.
The committee. You need the higher ups. They mention it. They mentioned that a treaty was broken.
Right.
Now Jared Sin's like taking over. Yeah. But again, like the guy said on the show, taking over what? There's like nothing there. Even his base is in the corner of a mountain. You know that.
Yeah,
out the story of this. It's just like, come on. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, just have a scene then with like 4 people sitting at like a desk and Dojin comes in. It's like, Dojin. It's like, oh yes, Commander. It's like, and they're like, oh, Jared Sin is taking over the Northlands or whatever. And it's
look what Spacehunter did. It all came over a radio transmission.
Yeah.
All on a computer screen. And it was just like SOS come across on all these other things that like they built an entire system. Like it was, I got reminded of like Firefly. Yeah. I was like, those guys watched this movie when they
for sure
when they made
did.
Firefly. Totally did.
Totally.
I got Mal feelings from Wolf the whole time, but I was just like, they explained everything in like 30 seconds to give him a purpose. Dojin didn't get that respect of the writing for it. And I'm not, look, I was the highest rank on the Metalstorm. I'll tell you, my ranking for Metalstorm was like 5.5 on our show because we have up to a 10. I don't know why I keep blanking. Spacehunter, it's like a 7.5. That's where I'm at with this movie. Like it's that much better on all of the scales. But I own it. I will still watch this movie again. I mean, I want a 3D TV so I can watch it in 3D. Like seriously. And it's like, I want to love it. I wanted to love it. I wanted this one to win. Spacehunter was badass though.
No, I know. And I had a feeling because when you had seen Metalstorm already, I thought, oh man, because I gave Metalstorm 4.5 out of 10 on my space thing. And I gave it 1 on everything, and I gave it 0.5 on story, so it got a 4.5. Spacehunter got an 8 out of 10. So I'm a little bit higher on you than Spacehunter, but we're close enough. 7.5.
Yeah, it's negligible.
And then 4.5, you're 5.5. I could go to 5 just to be like, I give it a little bit extra. So if I gave it an extra 0.5 on artistry, I'd be at 5. So 5 out of 10 would be fair. But Spacehunter for me is like, wow, this is a real movie. But I watched that as a kid a lot. So to me, I'm like, yeah, this.
I wish I had. I wish I had.
I know. I was like, when you're like, I've never seen Spacehunter. I literally, I'm like, contain yourself, because I was gonna be like, Charlie, you're gonna fucking die over this movie. I'm like, this is gonna be your favorite movie.
We don't even need to do the stream, Charlie. Like, know what you're gonna pick.
It's like you're gonna, and then I started thinking, I'm like, I was like, if somehow, and I wasn't sure with Steve because it's like, Molly Ringwald. I thought I was the only person on earth that didn't think she was annoying, and really, not even do I not think she's annoying. I think she's brilliant. And I was like, oh God, Steve's gonna despise this character. I know it. I'm like, I don't know Charlie well enough to know, but I'm like, Steve will despise this character. Even I told you on the last stream, I was like, There's one character I'm not sure about what you're gonna think. Because look, Ernie Hudson's the damn best. Everybody likes him.
He is.
Chalmers is like good looking, so she's safe. Michael Ironside can do no wrong. And the main guy, who I just blanked on, Peter Strauss is awesome. Like he's a cool character. It's like Molly's the only one where I was like, but still, she grew on you guys, which is great. But I mean, like, I don't know. And I like that she's a kid. I'm glad there's no sexual.
That would have been an obvious thing, right?
See, I didn't know how old she was in the movie. I didn't look it up, and
I was thrown off when he kept calling her a kid, and he made him mention like high school. He's like, where you should be right now, and I was like, but she's in her 20s, right? And then when I found out she was 14,
that's what I thought.
Went,
yeah. So this is like before all the other stuff she's known for, like
before the John Hughes, before Breakfast
16
Club,
Candles, all that stuff.
Pretty.
I wonder if it's introducing. If it was her first. It doesn't say introducing on.
No, this wasn't her first movie.
Oh,
No.
Okay. I was gonna look it up.
I'm now being called the Metalstorm killer. Awesome.
Oh my god. Let's see what
I'm sorry. I had to be.
Okay, it's her second movie. Her first one was Tempest.
Yeah.
But
still second.
I guess Tempest was Shakespeare, right?
Maybe. If that's what they were doing with it, yeah.
No, it's an adventure comedy drama. Oh, it's loosely based on The Tempest. Yeah.
Okay.
Which I read The Tempest in school.
I think we had to read that in school. Yeah.
I didn't have to read it for school. I read it for fun.
Yeah. Steve reads for fun.
I used
Steve reads for fun. Pass it on.
Oh man.
And Steve reads Shakespeare for fun. Pass it on.
Yeah.
Ew.
And Dickens and Poe and all those guys.
Oh, terrible. The trilogy of terror right there. So Spacehunter was her second movie. Wow, that's awesome.
She did really well for being her second movie.
I would legit bring Spacehunter for her to sign. Like if she could, I'd be like,
100%.
This is your best, because she was I legit bought this character. Like Ernie Hudson, I know because I saw Ghostbusters before this. I don't know if this is before or after.
But he did a lot of these like B level direct to video type.
Yeah, Hurricane. Not Hurricane. Yeah, not Red Tornado. What the hell's the guy's name? Human Tornado. Jesus Christ.
Human Tornado.
Human Tornado. He did Human Tornado with my buddy. I mean, he was in a lot of stuff. So it's like he's cool. But like, yeah, Molly Ringwald's awesome. So yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Did we all do our enjoyment, or is it just obvious? Like,
it's Spacehunter. Yeah. It's all like I enjoyed Metalstorm. Mm-hmm. I truly did.
Me too.
The problem was I had to justify my enjoyment. I had to be like, okay, what did I enjoy? I didn't enjoy the story, but I enjoyed like the practical effects. I enjoyed the experience of the movie. I enjoyed what they tried to do. Spacehunter was just like, yeah, let's show you what it truly should have been like. And it's like, yeah, I like this a lot more. Like, you're right. This is going to I honestly think it's going to go a long ways into this thing. Like, this would beat Your for me. Like, honestly, I think this would beat Your. Space Raiders, it's going to be a slugfest because Wolf and the main guy from Space, they're kind of the same.
Hawk. It's Wolf and Hawk.
Hawk and Wolf. I like that. Wolf and Hawk. But I think it's going to really kind of come down to that, that slugfest.
So this just because this is their placement now, it doesn't mean it's going to be like that. I just needed somewhere to move them into. Maybe I should move them into the center before and then redo the matchups. Like I was thinking, once we get our 8, I'll redo the matchups. Look. Okay, so what do you guys want to do next week?
Let's see.
So let me see here. This is done. That is done. So there's Star Crash, Galaxina, Arena, Enemy Mine, Outland, Saturn 3, Forbidden World, Galaxy of Terror.
I'm voting Galaxy of Terror, Forbidden World. Get some good creature feature kind of stuff going on.
Yeah, you want to do those next?
That's my vote. What do you think, Steven?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right.
We are getting into October, so it's good to get into add a little bit of horror stuff too.
Yeah, that's true.
We could do that and then follow it up with Saturn 3 and Outland, because Saturn 3 is basically a horror movie.
That's true.
That is true.
Yeah, there's still a lot to do. Eh? Wow. There's still a lot.
All of October is going to be to finish out the ranking. I mean, that's 4 weeks. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is not an easy task. We got to figure it out. But I mean, the front runners, like, the thing is that after we did so when I first saw I thought it was awesome. And then when we rewatched it for Space for this versus, I was like, man, this movie is just so awesome. And I love it. It's like, I'm just like obsessed with now. I literally spend my time doing random things, and I randomly created a role-playing game for Nice. So I do this all the time, like random. Whatever I made did I tell you my Night of the Comet board game? Did I tell you that story?
Yeah, you started telling me about that.
Yeah, I made the Night of the Comet board game. Then Catherine Mary Stewart was like, "Oh my god, let me see the board game." So I sent it to her and everything. It's like, this is like outrageous. But like, I'll do random crap like that, right? So it's like, but I made, and then I literally started to rewrite the movie and like make like like an updated version. And oh my god, my updated version's awesome. But
I've just offended an entire culture.
So what's happening here? Okay, so what's going on, Masters Maniac Mexico? No, says okay. Oh no! What happened? What did?
Because I killed Metalstorm.
Oh come on!
The series, who killed
series?
Oh, this time Metalstorm Charlie.
No, oh dude, you gotta watch Space. Like, crawl in you could flip a coin as to what your tastes are. I happen to like the barbarian style and like the twist of having it be like in like a futuristic kind of world or whatever. Yeah. I like that, and to me it opened up my imagination more. But I love Crawl. It's Dungeons and Dragons basically, which is what we play all the time.
Yeah,
I literally today.
Pacing killed that movie. Let's be honest. Pacing killed that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. He says I'm right. I just can't overcome his nostalgia.
Oh, okay.
Who kills Strom will harvest the thunder. The problem is he's right.
I just can't overcome my nostalgia. Yeah.
No.
It gets to that. Like when you watch
nostalgia's a drug.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I was. So when we first were talking about it, that's what I was worried that because Charlie, you had seen Metalstorm before. I thought maybe you really loved it.
Yeah, I thought this.
Like,
yeah,
I thought I did. I thought I did.
Right, and then that's why when you said you didn't see Space, because I'm like, this guy's talking like he likes Metalstorm better than Spacehunter. I'm like, okay, and then like I haven't seen Spacehunter. I was like, oh man. I'm like, well, you're going to be changing your mind pretty damn fast after you watch Spacehunter because that's a goddamn awesome movie.
I messaged my buddy Pete because he has another podcast called Good Beer Bad Movie, and he goes, they cover Spacehunter because he actually brings. I plug the show, and I'm like, we're going to be pitting Metalstorm, and I couldn't remember for the life of me who it was against. Pete goes, it better be Spacehunter. He goes, that's the only movie you can pit it against, and I look it up, and I'm like, holy shit, it is. He goes, we cover it. He won't tell me what they rate it, so I got to go back and listen to his episode. But I messaged him. I was 10 minutes in, and I went, holy shit, I fucking love this movie.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, I didn't even talk about like his ship. Yeah. Wolf's ship is fucking badass.
I know.
And they gloss over one of the most coolest things, and I happen to catch it, is they start blowing dirt after they land. And he's like, bury it. It is thrustering a hole to bury the ship in so no one can find it.
Yeah.
And then it's there ready for him to go. And I'm like, motherfucker, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I know.
That is amazing. And that's how much confidence they had. They're like, we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to drop it in the first like 10 minutes of the movie. And I was just like, oh my God. The train that those people are on when they come through. It's just
there's that whole faction that's just trying to kill Overdog just because they're pissed off with him anyways.
Yeah. Like there's this whole thing of them being doctors together.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the hell? I want to know more. You know, but this is like you said, it's a perfect serial. This is just a piece of a long story taken out that they made a movie, and it works because it just had all the right elements as it went.
Yeah, and it's going to continue. Like, I love the idea of them now going off. Like, okay, we're going to continue this on.
Yeah, they now have a team. You got Ernie Hudson, you got everybody. Like, now tell me why those girls were so important. That's now the next chapter.
Right.
What do we get into with them? And like, there's some reason they were the only 3 that made it out of that shit. Their fucking spacesuits were badass.
Yeah.
Holy shit, when they come out of that thing I'm like, you're in an awful big rush getting into the escape pods. You didn't have time to put all that shit on. And then it had the foam around them to cushion them. And I was I went, Demolition Man. Yeah. They stole it, damn it. But it was just, there was nothing on that movie that I was not in awe of. Just like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, man, it's going to be great for someone now who's a seasoned, movie watcher, who's going to now watch this for the first time and be like, and it's one of those, it's like, it's what you do. Yeah, I actually love discovering something that I missed, because it's almost like I'm transported back to the time of when I would have been the right age for it, and be like, oh man, and it's happening now, because so many new things. I hate being this get off my lawn, but it's like so many new things are so bad. You get pumped up. It's like Deadpool 3, it's Disney. Like, is it going to be rated R in a schlocky movie? Like, everyone's like, Logan's in it. It's like, okay, guys, relax. It's still Disney. Like, unless Ryan Reynolds writes this thing or whatever,
I think that's part of the deal that
we're going to see.
I won't, basically it's like, I won't do it unless I get creative control. And they know better than to recast him. With all the shit they're putting out now, they're banking on this movie.
Oh, big time.
That's how they paid Hugh Jackman a buttload of money. You know they did. Yeah, they are friends, but Friends would have put him in Deadpool 2 better, not the knockoff cheap way they did it. There's a reason we're getting this. But no, back to your point, I lagged out there for a second. I feel like when I find these gems of movies now, I'm now back at this point of where I can appreciate it as much as I would have as a kid. Right. There's this moment of time when I'm in my like 20s, early 30s. Yeah, I would have been like, yeah, okay, it was kind of fun. It was nice to relive that. But now I'm at, my 40s, and I'm like, man, I really want to find a badass movie I missed. I really want to find something like, it's a challenge. Is there an awesome movie? And so far I found 2. Space Raiders and now Spacehunter. I'm going to find every movie that starts with space. And I'm going to start watching the damn things.
Yeah, well, everyone is saying, and I never seen Enemy Mine, so there's going to be one for me.
I have seen that, and I'm really surprised it's on this list.
Oh, okay.
That was like a major thing I remember growing up. It had a major
release. I remember
that
seeing the big movie.
It had Louis Gossett Jr. in it. It was like supposed to like compete with things like The Last Starfighter and stuff like that, but I haven't seen it in a long time, and I actually feel like it's going to fit well when we do it. Like, I think it's up against Arena, and that's a tough one.
Is it Arena? Yeah, you're right, it is Arena.
I think it's up against Arena,
and because I like
it's
Arena.
A human teaming up with a mutant alien monster. Arena's awesome. It's on Tubi too right now. I watched it a few months ago, but I'm going to redo it. But Enemy Mine I haven't seen in probably 20 years. But it's that big of an impact. I remember it. It's like there's some weird shit that happens in that movie. Meeting of the Honorable Gentlemen's Club of Childhood Heroes Serial Killers.
No. Ooh, Eyes Wide Shut. I like that movie.
Yeah, but we're just speaking the truth because we're watching them like this week. I know a lot of people don't have time to do it right before our streams, but watch these things even after you listen to us talk about them and then go, oh shit, they make some good points, because we're not fighting for our favorite movies. We're really not. We're really actually like digging in and pitting them against each other. And it's surprising. I'm enjoying the hell out of this. When I get done watching these movies, I'm just like, this one I've been hyped about. I just knew who was going to win. Yeah. I was in there going, there's no way anyone else is picking Metalstorm at all.
And Space Hunter is like a childhood favorite. If I had it on VHS from that Zeller's Corner, it's like, that's gonna, that corner was like everything I cared about, like, Fire and Ice. I've literally rebought that movie every time. It's like,
I
oh,
love
it comes with Painting with Fire. Oh, I'm rebuying it. Oh, it's on Blu-ray now. I'm rebuying it. I bought two heavy metal. I got
Heavy Metal,
in that corner. Yep. I've rebought. I have 2 4K tins of that. I'm like, I just bought I'll just buy 2 of them just in case. Who knows? It's like I'm crazy. Like it's like I love that kind of stuff.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, like I wanted to buy a second. When you had 2 your copies, I was like, man, I need 2 copies of yours. So I'm like already looking at the copies.
I got 6. I have 6 versions. I think I counted of Total Recall. So it's fine, man. Yeah.
I've got. I think I only have 3, so I think you've beaten me on Total Recall as well.
Yeah, I've got original release on DVD.
Sure.
I have a Blu-ray release. I have it where it was released on an Arnold 6 movie collection DVD. I have the 4K release that also came with a Blu-ray, and then I count it, but I have the Colin Farrell remake. I have Total Recall. And then I have the making of, which is the Carcola story.
Okay.
And it's almost all about Total Recall on DVD. And it's I just love that movie.
I love it too. It's genius. We're never going to
Michael Ironside.
Yeah, Michael Ironside. See you at the party, Richter.
Also,
see you at the party, Richter.
If you haven't seen it, after watching this movie, I immediately now want to go back and watch Turbo Kid again.
I love Turbo Kid.
Michael Ironside in a wasteland with
Skeletron
with razor blades and circular saws, and I'm like, that Michael Ironside just loves this shit. And you started sharing all the Highlander 2 stuff, and I was just like, man, he went from Overdog into the bad guy from Highlander 2. It's like this guy just loved this shit. It's just fun for him.
Well, he hated working on Highlander 2.
Oh.
He hated working on it, but he liked the character, which is why he took it.
Well, he said when he showed up, parts of the movie were gone that he thought he was signing up for.
Oh, they wrote that on the fly.
Yeah.
It was there's a huge story behind Highlander 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I never actually saw The Quickening. I've only ever seen the Renegade version, and that's the version I always know. I never saw The Quickening.
Oh, I got both.
I've got The Quickening on VHS. I don't think The Quickening was ever released on DVD or Blu-ray that I've seen. I've only seen the
DVD. I have it on DVD.
Oh yeah, okay. I've only ever seen the Renegade cut, and then I've seen the remastered Renegade cut where they went back and made the sky blue.
I bought a collection that had all of them, and it had both the Quickening and Renegade version of Highlander 2, because Highlander 2, the Quickening is on the same disc as Highlander, but the Renegade version's on its own disc. It's totally separate. But yeah, I had seen both of those. I love watching both versions. They're literally like watching 2 different movies where you're just kind of like, it's kind of similar, but they go so different where they dive deeper into the alien thing that they tried to fix it. But again, it's another movie. I loved Highlander, but I liked Highlander 2 just as much. I watched
Highlander
it all the time.
Yeah.
And that's speaking of drugs, Steven, a lot of cocaine. A lot of cocaine and an Argentinian government and distribution issues.
Well, you mentioned
behind it.
You mentioned Turbo Kid, and a new comic came out just this week for Turbo Kid. I did not get it, but maybe I should get it. Really, I've got the Turbo Kid. I bought the Turbo Kid soundtrack from Bandcamp. It's the official soundtrack, and it's awesome. And like La Matos or whatever, like those guys, like they're awesome. I've got all their stuff. I even bought some of their CDs that have nothing to do with, like they did the soundtrack for 84. What the hell is it called? Oh my god, the horror movie, Summer of 84.
Oh, Summer of 84, the Netflix thing they did, right?
Yeah, so I don't know, was that on, because I mean I bought that on like normal Blu-ray.
I bought on Blu-ray, yeah.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. No, they did something similar where they did like different generations, and I think one of them is 84.
I see.
On that. But I know it's one of those like boutique movie type things they released not too long ago.
Yeah, and it was the same guys that made Turbo Kid. So it's the same guys that made Turbo Kid. I love Turbo Kid.
God, that was so fucking good.
Yeah, I've got the tin of that one. And I remember there's a buddy of mine, different Sean. I've been trying to get that Sean to come on here because he's a super nerd too. And I remember we'd lost touch. I hadn't talked to him for like a few years. And we linked up again. We were talking. I was like, have you seen Turbo Kid? And he's like, no, I don't know what that is. I said, I'm doing the J-Man guarantee that Turbo Kid is going to, it's like 10 out of 10 for you. I guarantee. And I never guarantee anything. And he's like, oh, if he watched it, literally call. He's like, oh yeah, it's fucking 10 out of 10. I told you, I was like, first of all, is Apple the best character? Oh yeah, she greatest character ever. It's like everything that happened in that movie is 10 out of 10. I'm like, yep, Turbo Kid. So
I did that with a buddy whenever I told him about Psycho Gorman.
Oh,
I was like, you are totally into like kaiju movies, the rubber suit monster,
yep.
Power Rangers. I said, go buy it. I said, don't even rent it. Go buy it. You'll want it.
Did that even come out on Blu-ray? I don't even think
Not on Blu-ray, just DVD, I think. I think there is a Blu-ray though. I see people share it because I follow the guy on Instagram, and he even has one of those smart watches that has something to do with every time it hits a certain time, Psycho Gorman pops up. And I asked a question and he was messaging me back, like showing me like up close what it would do. But I think there is a Blu-ray somewhere. It might have been on the Kickstarter, like people got in when they helped promote it and got Blu-rays, but I can only find the DVD.
There's a couple of different Blu-rays for it actually, but they look a bit wonky. I'm gonna have to research it and see which is the.
If there is, let me know because I'll buy it. But because I've bought the DVD twice, I bought it for a friend of mine, and then rebought it for myself again. I love that fucking movie.
Yeah, so I have not watched it. When it came out, I was all over it. I was waiting for it to come out. Came out. I'm like, yeah, here we go. And I got like a digital copy. I was like, I'm ready to go. This is gonna be out. And then I couldn't watch it or something. And then I just didn't watch it. And
watch it.
And then I didn't watch it. And I'm like, and then now that you find it, I have it on, I have a 2-watch folder on my desktop. It's like literally in the 2-watch folder.
Move it to the top.
And it's like, why am I not watching this? So now that you've mentioned it, I'm gonna remember.
Watch
it now.
It. I love it. It's right up our alley.
All right, yeah, no, it looks awesome. I was following it as it came out. I watched the Red Letter Media review on it when they came out. Like I'm like, yeah, here we go. And then I'm like, why am I not watching this? And then you lose, it gets lost. Like I never got.
No, it happens. Yeah,
I didn't see The Void. I didn't see the editor. It's like I kept missing on all of these movies, and I haven't gone back.
I own DVDs I haven't even watched yet. I'll buy them, and it'll just be like, okay, I'll watch that one day. Yeah, and it's weird. Like I have one that I keep reminding myself, like I still haven't watched Wrath of Man with Jason Statham. I love Jason Statham movies. I am a Jason Statham super freak. I just haven't got around to watching the damn movie yet, and it's just like, come on.
Me neither. I did the same thing, Charlie. Bought it cheap. I heard great things about it. It's on my shelf. I'm going to watch it.
It's streaming right now too, and it's like, what do? I watch something I've seen 100.
Yeah, I saw your post. No, he's frozen.
Same movie I've watched 27 times. Kick that door open. That's where
I saw that post where you're like, yeah, it's just like that's what I do all the time too. I'm literally. I was at Steve's place the other day. I'm like, let's watch Your. It's like really like it's like we watched Your, and I'm like this is. And then these guys were making fun of me on Twitter. It's like, oh, it's like J-Man likes Your. I'm like, I literally just. It was funny because they were talking about it. I'm like, I literally just watched that again at Steve's place 48 hours ago. It's like really
it makes me want to watch it again. Keep talking about it. I will watch it again.
I'll just watch it again. But
now he did watch V as well, so he did watch something new.
We watched something that we hadn't seen yet. All right, guys. I think we're gonna end it off there because we talked a lot on. I mean, this should have been like an open.
Oh, we were an hour and a half and done with this thing. We've just been BSing for 30 minutes.
Yeah. So thanks to everybody who stayed on to watch all this, and thanks for a lot of people are going back and watching this. Some notice because I get a lot of things after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. I'll get like tons of views after, and you're like, okay, it's like I guess somebody went back and watched it, so that's great. But next Friday we're doing Forbidden World and Galaxy of Terror. I don't know which one's going to win out of that. I need to watch both of those, and I'm going to be taking a lot of notes because I loved both those movies.
Yeah,
and I like everyone. Even though I was wrong on Yor and Krull, I would have thought Krull. I would have thought Ice Pirates, right? Even though I guessed wrong, I didn't guess wrong this time. But this one, I can't even guess because I wasn't really even doing space reviews when those movies. I don't even have a score for them because I was just like, I love this movie, so I love this movie. I'm like, I don't know what's one I love better. I'm gonna have to watch them both and really scrutinize. I think it's gonna be tough. I think next Friday's tough.
The last time I watched them both, and they're both on Tubi, and it's funny. I think when I watched one, the second one started playing before we were planning this. Right. So I was working, but I was paying attention, and it's like I almost couldn't tell the difference between which movie I was watching. So it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to probably be one I watch back to back. Like I don't want any space between them two because I don't want to get confused again. I want to go know I watched this one first and know how it ends. Right into the next one to know how it ends and not go, what one did I watch what day? So it's going to be my best bet with it.
We'll have to scrutinize. All right, guys. Well, that is it then. I think the next stream is going to be, I'm on Clobberin Times on Monday, so check that out. And then I'm going to be, the wrestling stream will be on Wednesday. Okay, guys. Until next time.
Take it easy.
Hey, friends. You've just been listening to J-Man, and he is the smartest person who ever lived. So make sure you like and subscribe.